Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, we always greatly appreciate you for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. If you watched yesterday's video, you know today's video is going to be my quick preview and my quick over-under on the 2021 Florida Gators football team. And stay tuned as always to the channel, because coming up later on this week we'll do our weekly Braves review. As bad as I hate doing them right now, I will still do another one. We'll also do our NASCAR review for the week coming up one day later on this week. And of course we'll have our top 10 countdown. That'll be coming up on Wednesday. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and get into the Florida Gators. And honestly, truth be told, I hadn't ahead of time planned on doing Florida right now until I was doing yesterday's video. And as I was talking about who I was going to do, I thought I'll just do Florida, because I don't get the propaganda behind Florida. I don't understand why, according to some pundits, they're a top 10 team this year. I just don't see it. To me, Dan Mullen is the biggest clown and the biggest joke in all of college football. Now, I know I have previously said Jimbo Fisher's a clown, and Jimbo Fisher's a clown, but it's because he can't coach. He did win one national championship at Florida State, but if you follow recruiting and NFL draft, you know that after the 2013 season, 18 of their 22 starters were drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. Now, there ain't but 32 first-round picks, and 18 of them came from Florida State. So more than half of the NFL draft first-round picks that year came from Florida State. So if you have 18 of 22 starters that go in the first round of the NFL draft and you can't win a national championship, then something's wrong. So that's why I say Jimbo Fisher can't coach. And heck, he still barely won the national championship by beating Auburn by less than a touchdown, and Auburn had no quarterback. They had former defensive back Nick Marshall playing quarterback and still almost beat Florida State. So that's why I say Jimbo Fisher is a clown, because it has to do with the on-the-field stuff. Same way I feel about Mack Brown. Mack Brown's coached for 975 years, and he's consistently a 9-win football coach outside of the 1 year when they had Vince Young, who, as I've said before, according to some, outside of Herschel Walker, is the greatest college football player ever, and you won one national championship in 975 years. So I know that I say Jimbo Fisher and Mack Brown are both clowns, but that has to do with the on-the-field stuff. Dan Mullen's just a clown in general. I mean, if you look back at some of the things he's done over the years, just last year he practically walked onto the field against Missouri and did everything he could to start a fight between the two schools. He had one game where he had a press conference where he comes out dressed like a Star Wars character. He's just an absolute total clown. And then his wife kisses all the players before the game, which to me is just flat out creepy. But he's okay with it, and she's okay with it. But if I was a player, I'd say, no, thank you. To me, that's just creepy. So Dan Mullen is just a clown in every sense of the word. I don't understand why they have all the high praise for him. If you look at all his years at Mississippi State, yeah, they won 8 games a year, which for Mississippi State is good, but it's not great. But the only reason they won 8 games a year was because their 4 non-conference games, they play one against a Division II school, one against a 1AA school, and then their 2 non-conference games against 1A schools would be 2 of the most pitiful 1A schools that there were, and then they would open up conference play by playing the weak side of the SEC, and they'd get to be 8-0 or 9-0, and then they'd finish out by losing to LSU. Then they'd lose to Alabama, and then they'd lose to Georgia. So they didn't ever beat anybody of relevance in his whole entire year that he was there. His whole tenure, they never beat anybody worth a darn. Dan Mullen's always beat teams he's supposed to beat. He's always lost to teams he's supposed to lose to. He ain't never outcoached anybody. He never has. He never will. If you look at all the years he's coached, he's had one quarterback that could throw, and that was Dak Prescott. Every other quarterback he has is basically a wide receiver or a running back that he moves to quarterback and tries to teach them how to throw, it's the same way this year. Emory Jones can't throw. So if you're a college football fan or know someone who is, please feel free to tell them to watch this video and give me their thoughts on Dan Mullen in general or the Florida Gators. I've got their schedule wrote down. Now, outside of Florida State, just like when he was at Mississippi State, their other 3 non-conference games are pitiful. They might as well play local high school teams here where I am. They play Florida Atlantic, they play South Florida, and they play Samford. So, of course, they'll win those 3 games. I've got them with losses to Alabama, Kentucky, Georgia, and Missouri. And the LSU game is a toss-up because you know I'm not really big on LSU this year either, but somebody has to win that game. So I've got them with 7 wins, and I've got them with 4 losses. And then, like I said, the LSU game is kind of a toss-up. So if I had to pick an over-under right now for Florida for the 2021 season, I'm going to say 7.5 because I'm not sure about the LSU game. But I know you're thinking, well, if Florida's only going to win 7, maybe 8 games, who's going to finish second place in the East? Because we know Georgia is going to win the East. And the answer is Kentucky. And it's not that Kentucky is going to be great because they're not, but somebody has to finish in second place in the SEC East. And it ain't going to be Tennessee under a first-year coach. We know it ain't going to be Vanderbilt. If the other 6 teams just canceled their seasons, Vanderbilt still couldn't win the SEC East. So we know it ain't going to be Vanderbilt. And it ain't going to be pitiful South Carolina. They'll be lucky to win 4 games. So it's either going to be Missouri or it's going to be Kentucky. But I think when Missouri and Kentucky play head-to-head, I think Kentucky might beat them. So I'm going to go ahead and say right now on June the 6th that the Kentucky Wildcats finished second place this year in the SEC East. They may only be a 9-3 team, but that'll be good enough to finish second place in the SEC East. So I've got Florida with 7 wins, 4 losses, and then 1 toss-up game with LSU. If you ask me who I think was going to win that game, I'll say probably Florida, but I'm not positive on that. So I'll say they go 8-4, but my over-under right now would be 7.5 just because I'm not sold on them playing LSU. It's 2 overrated teams, but somebody has to win it. Emory Jones can't throw, but he is their quarterback this year, so they don't really have any other options. Kyle Trask is gone now, and Emory Jones has been there for 20 years, but he's finally going to get his chance this year to be the starter, and he'll have decent numbers because most of his throws are going to be 10 yards and in. But anything deep, you can forget Emory Jones either ain't going to throw it, or he's going to extremely overthrow, or he's going to extremely underthrow because he just flat out can't throw. That's why, since he's been there, every time he comes into play, all he does is run the ball or hand off because he can't throw. And for some reason, Dan Mullen likes quarterbacks that can't throw. This may be Dan Mullen's last year there. I'm not going to say that they're going to fire him, but I do believe he wants to be an NFL coach, and every year the NFL comes calling, and so far, every year he's turned them down. But if I'm right, and Florida is only 7-5 or 8-4 this year, you'll have a lot of Florida fans that want him gone because they'll be no better now than they were before he got there. So there's a chance that this year in the offseason, when the NFL comes calling, he might accept that job. And there's also a chance that even if they don't, if I'm right and they do go 8-4 or 7-5, they may fire him because he is a clown and they're supposed to be a top 10 team. But I just don't see it. They lost almost their entire offense. And now the one position you need the most this day and time in college football is quarterback. And you've got Emory Jones. So any game Florida gets behind, especially by 2 touchdowns, I just don't see any way that they come back and win that game. So my prediction for the 2021 Florida Gators, their over-under is 7.5. What say you if you're a college football fan or know someone who is? Please feel free to tell them to watch this video and drop in the comments what you think about Dan Mullen or the Florida Gators in general. And always feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Before we get out of here for the day, I'll go ahead and give you my dad joke of the day. How do you wake up Lady Gaga? Poker face. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them.